everyone, hey all, it is Monday and that means it's countdown day here on the channel, and I apologize if things are moving fast, but we're all about fast today because this time we're going to be looking at sports cars. That's right, this time around we're going to be counting down the top 10 Transformers with sports car alt modes. That's our topic this time around in the latest GotBot Counts Down. If you like things fast, then this is the place to be. I am your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. Let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor. All the groups that I am either a mod or an admin for, all those links are in the description. Check me out all across social media. All those links also in the description. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring. Or, of course, hit the join button right here on YouTube, baby. Become a channel member. And this is the top 10 Transformers as voted on by you guys all across social media. But this is the top 10 Transformers with sports car alt modes. And there were a lot of votes. This was very all over the map. This was a wild one to watch the tallies go up in, and a lot of close races, even for numbers 1, 2, and 3. Really, really close races. But before we do the list itself, we have to do the honorable mentions. I'm only doing 4 this time. Usually we do 5, but I'm only doing 4. All 4 of these tied the exact same number of votes. That being the Stunticon Dead End, as well as Red Alert, Drift, and none other than Blur. I thought for sure Blur was going to get on the list, but he didn't. He didn't. Neither did the others. There were other ones that I wanted to put in the honorable mentions, but like if I had taken the next step down, there were a bunch that had the same amount of votes again, so I was like, no, I think we'll leave it at 4. So if none of them made the list, who did? Well, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do what we always do and kick it off with number 10 first. Number 10 takes us to Robots in Disguise 2001, or Car Robots if you prefer, and the character of Sideburn. While I don't have a plastic representation of Sideburn, I do know that he turns into a Dodge Viper. It was a sports car of the time. It lasted, for a few years. It had kind of a cult following. It was extremely, extremely distinctive in its look, just as Sideburn was. And a lot of people remember him and remember that alt mode so very fondly, enough that he was able to take the number 10 slot. At number 9, if you see his face, then your life is already over. But if you see his alt mode, you might smile. We're talking about Lockdown. Specifically, movie Lockdown, who turned into a Lamborghini Aventador. I'm probably saying that wrong. But he turned into a Lamborghini. Not exactly in disguise or inconspicuous, but it is a cool car nevertheless. There were 3 votes for his animated version, which is that like souped up muscle car version. But most people really said if there was one thing to like about Age of Extinction, it was the alt mode of Lockdown. And I can't really argue with him. For that reason, he takes the number 9 slot. Number 8 is my personal favorite, Wheeljack, who turns into a Lancia Stratos Turbo. As a matter of fact, this paint scheme has actually been used on a racing car maybe more than once. But yeah, it's undeniable. I mean, the Lancia is a sleek, beautiful car. This paint job is a sleek, beautiful paint job with a ton of detailing. Was there really any doubt that Wheeljack was going to appear here? Probably not, but enough people remember the Lancia and like Wheeljack that he was able to solidify himself at the number 8 slot. Number 7 has been a Ligier, or Legier, I'm not even trying to say the word race car. He's been a Ferrari and he's been a Ford GT. He's gone by the name Dino, but most of us know him as Mirage. Mirage is number 7. He's had a ton of different cool car modes. across his couple of names. Whether you like a Ferrari, whether you like the Ford, or whether you like the actual race car is up to you. But anyway, you cut it. And because he's had so many cool cars personify him, he was bound to appear here, and he took the number 7 slot. At number 6, we have one character representing 3. We're going to use Blue Streak because he got the most votes between himself, Prowl, and Smokescreen. Of course, this represents the Datsun 280. Oh, what are the XZ? Is that what it is? ZX? I gotta double check my notes. Yeah, ZX. I can never remember the order of these letters. I don't know why they do the letters, but it's the Fair Lady, right? The Fair Lady Z kind of homage design. Anyway, this is the 280 XZ Turbo. It was a great car. It was a cool car. It was one of those like sports cars that was probably not the first one that would come to mind. It was a little more robots in disguise-ish than, say, some of your flashier sports cars. But it did have power under the hood. It did look sleek, and enough people liked that car and liked this character that he came in at the number 6 slot. And now here at the halfway mark, I do have a plastic representation, but I didn't want to root it out because it was just more work than it was worth. Besides, the plastic representation I have isn't exactly the correct alt mode, and that's always been one of the weaknesses for him. The alt mode I'm talking about is a Corvette. As a matter of fact, some people have pegged it as a 73 Corvette Stingray, and I think that's right. I'm talking, of course, about everybody's favorite blue lad, the guy who thinks he's beautiful, Trax. Yeah, Trax was bound to be here, and with an alt mode like he has, with that gorgeous Corvette alt mode, how could he not be on here? Not to mention, he is a beautiful shade of blue to boot. Enough people agree with me, and enough votes rolled in, that Trax was able to tie himself up at the number 5 slot. Coming in at number 4 is another Autobot who thinks he's beautiful, who thinks he's wonderful, who loves himself and his alt mode. I'm talking, of course, about Sunstreaker, who does indeed turn into a gorgeous Lamborghini Countach super tuning customized. That's what these thrusters, these turbos, these whatever they are, boosters are. That's the customized part. But yeah, I'm quintessential sports car of the 80s. Maybe not the customized part, but definitely recognizable to even a passing fan of automobiles. And for that reason, he took the number 4 slot. Now, number 3 is somewhat like Mirage was, because he's had a couple of different alt modes, but both have been sports cars. Whether you're talking about a Porsche 935 or whether you're talking about a Solstice, I don't even think the Solstice is made anymore. I don't even think the company that made it is around anymore. Needless to say, we're talking about Jazz. I prefer the G1 naturally. Everybody knows that Jazz is a Porsche, and everybody knows a Porsche is a cool car, and everybody knows a Porsche is a sports car, and for that reason, simple enough, Jazz takes the number 3 slot. And at number 2, we don't have anything souped up, we don't have anything added to, we don't have anything customized, it's just the cool Lamborghini Countach that was Sideswipe. Some might say, hey, we already had Sunstreaker here. Yes, but that was slightly different because that was customized. This is just, as 3 voters pointed out in particular, though there were a lot of votes for this guy, as 3 people pointed out in particular, Sideswipe is the epitome of an 80s car poster. He is the poster that everybody had in their room, every lad had in their room if you wanted to be a cool car guy. And you know what? They're not wrong. Whether you're talking about red Sideswipe or G2 black Sideswipe, yeah, the alt mode is undeniably one of the absolute best sports cars that we've ever had, and one of the best characters we've ever had. And enough people thought the same thing, that enough votes rolled in, that he was able to solidify his position at the number 2 slot. So who was number 1? The absolute irony of this list is that number 1 isn't even a real sports car. Number 1 is a Cybertronian mode sports car. But you can't argue with the fact that he said, if you're gonna ride in style, talking about Hot Rod himself. It's undeniable that Hot Rod turns into like a futuristic sports car. This is the Titan's Return version. A lot of people nowadays have the Studio Series 86 version. I don't have that as of this recording. We'll see if he shows up. But needless to say, we all know just how aerodynamic and sleek Hot Rod was. And while the voting was close, the last little bit of time, he really kind of stood out, took the lead, and people said, yeah, you know what? Can't argue with it. A couple of people, 3 as a matter of fact, also said, hey, if you want a real world mode for him, look no further than the last night when he was a Lamborghini there. And you know what? They're right. You could look as close as the last night for that beautiful Lamborghini mode. Or like the multitude, the dozens upon dozens of people that voted did, you could just say, this guy has the exhaust thrusters on the side. He has the cool guy spoiler. He's as aerodynamic as they get. And for all those reasons, and just because Hot Rod revels in the fact that he's a sports car anyway, how can you deny this guy the #1 slot? And there you have it. We've gone from 10 down to 1 once again. And there were a ton of votes, man. Run Amok Runabout also had votes. Exhaust did. Hotshot did. Tailgate did. Grimlock did because of his Binaltech alternators Mustang mode. Lightspeed did. Drag Strip did. Who else had some on here? Shattered Glass Hot Rod. Who I didn't mention. Cliff Jumper did. Punch Counter Punch did. Who else here? Transformers Prime Bumblebee did. And just to throw one more in there, Point Blank and Springer and Chrome Dome did. There, I threw 3 more in there. There were a ton more. Honestly, this was a wild round of voting, but only 10 can make the list, man. Did your favorites make it? Where did they fall? I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring. Or, of course, hit the join button, become a channel member here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, man. Stick around, have some fun with us, and don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, you do make a difference. And I look forward, baby, to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way, right here, inside the videos.